Hey, welcome. Sunday morning, Sunday brunch, coffee in hand.
Tea.
Tea? Okay. Well, okay. It's some kind of caffeinated beverage. Okay.
I'm sorry.
No problem. It's a caffeinated beverage. That's all that
for
matters.
the tea drinkers of America. There you go.
There you go. Mm-hmm. Hey, welcome to a special edition of the A Game on a Sunday morning. I'm Rob Akampora, and we've got something laid out where it's going to be round table. We're going to discuss everything Christmas and holidays. And when I say that, not much is going to be out of bounds here. And with this panel, trust me, not much is going to be out of bounds.
Yeah.
All right. So to introduce everybody first, this gentleman who has done some great voiceover work, including being part of the Pokemon series.
Yes, I am.
Bob Senkewicz, a.k.a. The Bobbus, is here. Thank you very much.
Nostra Bobbus. I know all, I tell all, I see all.
And he's done it very well, I might add. We'll elaborate a little bit more during our halftime segment. Okay. Coming in virtually, let's go out to the Delaware Valley to a man who will forever be known as the friend of Rocky Jr. and the man who, by the way, is not, I don't think, officially involved in the All My Children reboot. But that could be changing at any given moment, unless Tim's got his fingers crossed. And Tim, if you are involved in that, you're coming on with me, and we have a long Susan Lucci talk again. You know this.
Oh, I thought you were talking about me for a second. I was like, I'll be in the All My Children reboot. I'm so game. I've got the
soundtrack and everything. It'd be amazing.
Yeah, there you go. I was about to say, well, don't forget,
I'll bring Christian to Pine Valley with me.
Ho. I need some connections here too, Chief.
There's the thing. If Tim comes back to Pine Valley, that means he's going to be opposite Jesse McCartney the whole time. You know this.
Okay.
Tim, thanks for coming on, brother.
We can talk about my All My Children story arc at any time, because it really is the most bizarre thing. Because then halfway through my contract, Jesse McCartney did the thing where he left the show and became like an adult overnight.
Right.
And then I stayed the same age, and we can just talk about that forever. We were talking about existential things earlier. We would definitely have to talk about All My Children.
I think that's coming up during halftime with this, too. And from his, I guess, room at home in Jersey, where he's gotten himself away from his recording equipment. And yes, we'll have a sneak peek of his new song coming up during this whole thing. Yes, it's Christian Cordes. Yes, he looks so much like his dad. It makes us all scared. But we love it anyhow, which is a good thing.
Oh man, it's always awesome to be here. For a second, I thought I was Tim Carr and he was Christian Cordes. So now that that's all clarified, I'm good to go.
Yeah.
So our last names both start with C. We could both be Prince C if you want. We could do that.
That's very true. That's very, very true. And there is a side of my family that is Carrs. So it's my we have a cousin, Gregory Carr, who's performing in PM Dawn at the moment. So
I thought you were going to say I was your cousin and just going to blow my mind.
Are you, man? Well, welcome.
Related, man. Well,
just call him your brother from a different mother.
You might be related.
Since we're going here, before we get started, I got Ming, I know you're in charge of the photos. I'm trying to find the one that I need here. Scroll up. No, there it is. Give me number 3 to pay homage to Christian Cordes. We'll talk a little bit more about this, but look at the top of that photo, Christian. This is from a promo from an upcoming thing that Tim's got working at Parking Lot Films.
Oh, wow.
You noticed.
In reality, used to be a friend of mine.
I knew you'd see the line there.
It's a genius line, man.
Oh,
and now that we're family, I'm glad I got it naturally.
Oh, for sure. For sure.
Yes, the brothers have come together. This is going to be interesting. All right, gentlemen, it's sort of like around the horn, but we'll do it Christmas style. Let's get it started in the first quarter. Hey, Ming, give me photo number 8, because we're going to focus in on this man. Because he made a lot of news earlier, and about a month or two ago, Pete Davidson decided he was casted as George Bailey in the roundtable talk of It's a Wonderful Life, which they did virtually. There was a pretty nice cast about it, but we can all agree, I think, that ultimate Christmas classic movie is It's a Wonderful Life. So,
and it's not even a Christmas movie.
Well,
no. When Frank Capra made that movie, it was his intention was, this is not a Christmas movie. It became a Christmas movie, but it was not made as a Christmas movie.
You better hold that thought in the fourth quarter with that one, please.
Absolutely.
All right. With that being said, there was another film that was kind of an indirect take on It's a Wonderful Life. Came out about 20 years ago. You might remember The Family Man.
Yeah.
Nicolas Cage.
Yeah.
Okay. In my opinion, the most underrated holiday film. Now, you may disagree that's a holiday film. Yeah, because of everything. But as I go to my panel and I ask the question, in your mind, most underrated holiday film, and I'm going to give you leeway and say, quote unquote, holiday film. With that in mind, I'll go out to the Delaware Valley. Tim Carr, get us started.
Family Man's great, and there's in a perfect world, there's a surprise of something. The only thing modern day that's surprising is Nicolas Cage and his life choices. So I give you credit for that movie, and I give you credit because Nicolas Cage is the only thing that keeps us on our toes. We can predict weather, we can predict elections sometimes. We can't predict what Nicolas Cage is going to do next, and that's a great pick.
And Nicolas Cage did predict the weather for a while in Weatherman.
Oh, right? God.
I'm loving it. My underrated film, a holiday film, because I'm going with that, is Planes, Trains, and Automobiles. I think it's such a
one of my choices. But it's such a fun, good movie.
Heart-wrenching movie. And Steve Martin, who is one of the funniest persons to ever live. I'm doing great this morning. Funniest people to ever live. Decided to take the high road and play that role like a total jerk, not the jerk, but a jerk, and let John Candy have his time to shine. And John Candy turned in a performance that should have been nominated for an Oscar, and I will live on that debate forever. He let John Candy shine in that role, and it's beautiful, it's funny, and you feel, and it's got a twist at the end, and it makes you feel great and sad, and it makes you think, and I love it, and that's my pick.
I got to ask a question then.
Yeah.
Are you saying it's underrated as a film or just underrated as a holiday film? Because I think that movie has because as a film that movie's gotten a lot of credit. I mean, everybody loves that movie.
A lot of credit, and it has that one day where it plays on Thanksgiving. But then we get inundated with a million holiday films right after that. That one's never in the mix. It gets its moment in Thanksgiving, but really should have the shelf life of like an Elf or something that gets played around the clock.
To me, I would argue that it does, but I would also it's that great gap film between the holidays because for me, I've always considered Thanksgiving as a great pregame to Christmas. So
does that make that the Detroit Lions of the holidays?
It does. Although it wins more. It wins more on Thanksgiving.
Right. Yeah. So the film is actually the Dallas Cowboys. The premise is the Detroit Lions.
Right.
Because the Cowboys win more than the Lions. Well, no, wait a minute. The Lions do usually when they win, if they win in a bad year, it's on Thanksgiving. That's a good point. Yeah, I can't argue that. But Christian, he did really steal your thunder, didn't he?
Yeah, he took my choice. That was a good movie, though. But I'm not mad about it because it's so true. Planes, Trains, and Automobiles is something that still makes me laugh to this day. I love the scene in particular where he's jamming to mess around in the car while proceeding. That still to this day makes me just die laughing. And it's the simplest thing. But it's just it's executed so brilliantly that I'm just like, oh, my heart. I love this movie.
To you, Babas.
Ben-Hur. No. I always think Easter when I think Ben-Hur because it's always on there. I've actually got. I'm gonna throw one that's become a favorite of mine lately, and I don't know how many people really love it, but this is not my underrated one.
Okay,
Fred Claus.
Oh, that's such a good movie.
Watch that movie if you. I mean, it's just a lovely. I mean. I love that movie. It's not Christmas for me right now without watching it. But that's not the underrated Christmas movie.
Before you even go there, because the one thing about that movie that surprised me, I didn't think Paul Giamatti was going to pull off Santa Claus the way he did.
Paul Giamatti is a wonderful Santa Claus, and it's truly
so long to cast him there. Yeah, he should have been cast as Santa years ago.
Oh God, yes. Oh God, yeah. But that's not my underrated one.
Okay,
my underrated one, oddly enough, was on TV yesterday. I happened to catch it. Was Home for the Holidays.
That's been running a lot lately on cable this year for some reason.
It's a
wonderful
family story. Holly Hunter is the star of that movie, but it's got people like Robert Downey Jr. in it. It's got Anne Bancroft. It's got Charles Durning, and it's another movie more about Thanksgiving and leading into Christmas. But it's a wonderful story about how everything goes wrong in a family.
Yeah.
And Holly Hunter is just so wonderfully glides through this whole thing, trying to figure out which end of the world is up. And it has a very young Claire Danes in it as well.
That's true too.
So I love that one because it's what can go wrong from the turkey getting thrown all over somebody to Charles Durning is the dad who's got to wash everybody's car in the middle of Thanksgiving with the snow on the ground. Yeah, it's a great film. There's my underrated film.
Holly Hunter's the best too. And there was one time where I worked with Holly Hunter, And we did one scene together, and I was so proud of it because Holly Hunter's this legend, right?
Absolutely.
So I was like, man, I just held my own with Holly Hunter. Things are great. And we see each other again at lunchtime, which was like 2 a.m. because it was a late night shoot. And she comes over to me. I'm like, this is it. I'm about to get my Holly Hunter props. And she's like, excuse me, is this fish or chicken? I'm like, oh my gosh, she thinks I'm catering. She paid no attention that I was just in the scene with her. So yeah, I love Holly Hunter, even though she had no idea that I was just speaking to her or that we had a camera on us together. But yeah, Holly Hunter's great, and that was a great pick.
I'm interested to see Charles Durning because I remember my first exposure to that actor was the very first Muppet movie where he played Doc Hopper.
Ooh, yeah.
And then years later, I saw him in what the hell was it? Oh, Brother, Where Art Thou?
Yes.
And I was just, and my dad and my mom pointed it out to me, and she was like, "You know who that is?" She was like, "That's Doc Hopper." I was like, "Get the hell out of here!"
I'm going to give you one more Charles Durning, and this just before we jump around. If you're a fan of the show NCIS,
yeah,
he did an episode on NCIS where he is a World War II veteran from the Pacific Campaign, and he is a Medal of Honor recipient. And how he's aging and things, his life is going on. He's all messed up because he remembers things that happened. He wants to turn himself in because he thinks he should have been tried for murder for something that happened while they were on Okinawa or one of the I forget which one of the islands it was. Phenomenal episode. Catch that one.
I'll definitely watch that.
And one more actor that we forgot to mention in that movie, a very young Dylan McDermott from ABC's The Practice.
Yep, absolutely.
Wow.
And there's Steve Guttenberg and Cynthia Stevenson and David Strathairn. Right. Oh, it's a wonderful cast.
See, to me, this is like the definition of unrated because I literally just pulled up the page on this movie and I've never heard of it. So I'm probably going to watch this as soon as it's done.
Catch it. Sit down. Get yourself a frosty beverage. Pardon me?
I think Jodie Foster directs that too.
I believe that's true. I believe that's true.
Yeah.
Yep.
So I mean, you have just loaded cast. Yeah.
Mm-hmm. You realize if I was Tony Reale and scoring the argument, you'd be getting a lot of points right now. You realize that?
I've got converts already. There we go.
All right, let's go on. Second quarter. And during the holiday season, Ming, the one thing that we do see, if you can give me photo number 10, is some of our favorite cartoon characters come back to life. Even if you're just standing there in the neighborhood, you walk by a house and yes, you're going to see Peanuts. You may even realize that the Peanuts, I've come in style for this podcast just to put my Peanuts on. So,
there you go.
Look, I had to do it right.
Again,
Rob and Kapoor represent. Oh,
yes,
man.
Represent him, baby. The funny thing is, when I give my answer, you'll be sitting there going, but he's wearing that. What do you mean he's doing?
Is it something Rankin and Bass? Because if it's, I'm calling it. Is it Rankin?
Okay, all right. I will at least give you a clue that I am going sort of Rankin Bass on this, and you can't help it because when we talk about holiday cartoons, Rankin Bass was sort of the kings of these as we were all growing up, no matter what generation you grew up in.
Starting in the 70s.
Yes, as a matter of fact. Now, before that, in the 60s, we had Rudolph,
yes,
the red-nosed reindeer. And I think, if I'm not mistaken, Frosty was the 70s, wasn't it?
Yes.
Okay. So with that in mind, when we talk about holiday cartoon characters, not necessarily the cartoon, but the cartoon characters, who is your favorite? Christian, who do you got?
Who's my favorite
character?
I think it would have to be, this is going to sound really stereotypical, but it's Frosty. But it's not the first Rankin and Bass Frosty the Snowman. Okay. It's the second one that was played by John Goodman. He was voiced by him. Because that was the first time I had seen Frosty, and I didn't know it was a sequel special. So then my mom showed me the original, but I grew up with that one first. So I saw that, and I was like, oh, John Goodman, he's Frosty the Snowman forever. And then my mom was like, well, that's not actually true.
And he did it without makeup.
Interesting point about that is that it has 3 different lives. It has the original, which was sketched out as a cartoon. Then there was a second version that got the Rankin Bass treatment, and they have a distinctive style how they do their cartoons.
Yes.
Then the third version, which is the one Christian's talking about, was the resurrection with John Goodman as the character. So it's interesting how Frosty's had so much life, really, with about 2 different generations.
Well, as long as the hat's on his head, he comes back to life. So,
Happy birthday!
Happy birthday!
Well, the reason I resonated, and you'll find this actually kind of cool, Rob, with that special as well, is because it's directed and produced by the same guy who would do Peanuts specials, Bill Melendez.
Oh, wow.
So if you actually look at it, if it like from an art and animation standpoint, and you watch it and you're like, oh, this really looks and feels like an old school Peanuts cartoon because it's literally made by the same people. So that special for me will always be awesome. That and Mark Mothersbaugh did the music, so I'm always a fan of that.
We got a Devo reference on Christmas.
Yep.
Devo. So happy
I know Tim is smiling at that. You gotta understand, Tim is a big music fan. So the minute he mentions I mentioned Devo, he smiled. I knew that was coming.
Oh man, that's what Mark is. Besides Devo, he's one of my favorite composers. Like his
right? I know. What a career.
His scores are so slept on, but they're awesome. Like every single time I hear one by Mark Mothersbaugh, I'm like, that is amazing. From that one that stands out to me in particular is the Lego Movie. It's so good,
Wow.
and Thor Ragnarok. So not Christmassy, but there you go.
No, but again, it ties to what we're doing. Mm-hmm. Bob, I have a distinctive disadvantage as I've been over your house many Christmases, so I sort of have an idea where you may be going with this.
You're wrong.
I'm wrong?
You're wrong.
Wait a minute.
Because you're expecting me to go to the Miser Brothers.
No, actually.
Or Yukon Cornelius.
That's where I thought you were going.
And I'm going to say no.
I'm shocked.
Because you said you want to know what the favorite character is.
Yes.
You ready for it?
Ready.
The Winter Warlock.
Oh, very good. From the Santa Claus. Santa Claus is coming to town.
Yes. I love the Winter Warlock because he's such. I mean, he starts off as such the meanie, and he's so vicious, and then Kris Kringle melts the frozen heart, and he becomes such a wonderful little old wizard, kind of like the Rankin and Bass version of Gandalf.
Okay, that's deep.
See,
that's cool.
I give you a little thought behind that one there. So there you go. And it's such a wonderful character in the story about how he's got all those lovely little magic bits, and all he's got is left is the little magic corn that makes reindeer fly. Boom, there you go.
I've known this man for nearly 20 years, and I thought, I got this.
Nope.
I got this. No.
My job is to flip you around, baby.
Yeah, you did.
There you go.
Because here's the sad part. I was like, Ming, give me photo number 2. I was so expecting you to say Yukon Cornelius. I had the photo ready.
Well, you know the fun thing about Bumbles.
You know the thing about Bumbles is Bumbles bounce. Of course they do. Tim Carr, save us. I can't believe I just said that. Tim Carr, save us? What's your choice, Tim?
I'm not going to make this any better. For any film or idea that I don't understand, I'm going to fear and respect. So what I'm going to say here is Jack Frost. But I'm saying Jack Frost, the Michael Keaton version.
Thank you.
Michael Keaton was a bluesman. He was a blues guitar player. Yeah. Then he was in a car accident and came back as a snowman. And then Henry Rollins was randomly in it, and he was zany. And none of it made sense.
Let's pay a little respect for Kelly Preston, who played his wife in the movie.
The late great Kelly Preston was in that movie too, and she was great. And she was great in it. But Henry Rollins being like the silly guy made me crazy. I didn't understand it. And it made me the movie was sad in like 14 different ways. Like it was sad that Michael Keaton, I think he had blonde hair in it. And that was sad. And then he was a bluesman. And so the blues are sad. Then the car accident, that's sad. Then he came back as a snowman. And then he melted. It was all sad. But I appreciate the effort they put into it. So, and I love Michael Keaton, so I'm just going to go with Jack Frost, that version.
And
that's a great movie.
Anybody who wants to make the argument on this, keep in mind, Michael Keaton's character became a cartoon character in the movie as Jack Frost. He was animated. Yes. So for that, Tim Carr gets points for that for sure, because that's a very interesting angle you went there, sir. I like that. That was very good. Mm-hmm. All right, so I will be unoriginal. Ming, give me photo number 12, please, because somebody had to bring it up.
There he is.
Thank you.
I brought him up.
I know, but you kind of like, those are my guys. I mean, come on.
Of course they are.
It's like, hold it. Hold it.
Yep.
No can do, Mrs. C. Or it's, of course, the classic line, what? Snow in the South? Never!
Hey, what did the hothead want? The North Pole?
That special is literally like I remember watching it one Christmas, and then probably the following spring I was like, I want to try that. So I think there's like I don't know where it is, but my first ever stop motion film was because of the Miser Brothers.
Wow.
So like I've always loved that art style. Rankin and Bass have always knocked it out of the park with anything that they do holiday related. That includes Mad Monster Party for those who want to include that, but I love everything that they do for Christmas.
We just
And
went
the
to
Weiser
Monster
Brothers.
Party here, really?
Now, hang on a second. You do realize that for a while, all those Rankin and Bass cartoons were put on the shelf by the television stations.
Yeah.
And I remember this distinctly because when my wife and I had our first house, and it was somewhere around, I want to say 1990 or 91, there was this brutal snowstorm that came in, and I'm outside shoveling snow, and she comes running out. She's telling me, "The year without a Santa Claus is on the year without," and I'm like, I take the shovel, and I throw the shovel aside. I said, "Screw the snow, I'm coming back later." Because it hadn't been on in so long. I was like, "Oh my god, I can't believe it." And since then, it's been on almost every. It's on multiple times.
It brings up an interesting tangent because, like you said, they were shelved for a while, and then this year we have the whole controversy around Peanuts being that they were going to go on Apple TV, and then it was PBS that kind of rescued it in that sense. I get the fact that it's big business, and I understand that every one of these channels is trying to find an angle to get here. By the way, you need to subscribe to us so you can get your all Christmas stuff on. Yeah. But I mean, real quick, yes or no? Should these cable stations be touching some of these classics the way they are? I mean, it's a tough call because I understand the business end, but I also understand. Well, it's the spirit of Christmas. What are you doing?
It's tough, but I mean, I understand as you said, I understand the business aspect, but it's literally a tradition. Like, it was so weird to not turn on ABC and not see the Peanuts there. I mean, PBS, it was great that they were there, but like, this has been something that's going on for years, and for Apple to like end that legacy was just a little abrupt. But I will say, I'm actually okay with Apple having a stake in the Peanuts because they're putting the money forward to do more specials, and there's going to be more Peanuts content and there hasn't really been. I mean, we had the movie a couple of years ago, and we have little shorts here and there. But as a big Peanuts fan, as much as it sucks to not see it on TV, I'm all for more Peanuts. So it's a weird double-edged sword.
Yeah,
that's playing the long game there, Christian.
Hey, listen, man. I'm an animation fan. I know I'm going to be waiting forever for shit. So it's all good.
All I can say is, I got a rock.
Yeah. With that, we come to halftime. So we'll get to the third and fourth quarter later. But this is my chance to give everybody some plugs here. Christian, you're going to go last, and you'll understand why. Tim, I'm going to pull up photo number 4. You can explain this because this is one of your projects you've got coming up. Because every second chance deserves a second chance. It's a great tagline. What is going on with this?
Well, everything I say here that I'm doing is when life gets back to normal.
So we understand that.
What we're doing here is a sketch comedy series. And it's already great. We're already allowed to do the pilot episode. But what we're doing is we're making a TV show based on the great what ifs in all of our lives. You know, what if I took that job? What if I went on that date? What if I was on time for something? What would have happened in that world? So I guess it's like, and then we're going to have this great cast that is going to come together, and we're going to reenact that parallel universe for you. So it's going to be kind of a sketch comedy, but also like your existential sketch comedy, if that exists.
I was going to say it's got like an anthology feel to it. I like that. I think that's really dope.
Yeah, I'm excited about it because it's a weird idea I came up with that's sort of found an audience. There's been many ideas I've had where I would go in and I would have an entire room of the film executives or TV executives that just stare at me with their lattes or their green juice, and they would just say, "Oh, I don't know, I didn't get it." So that's why I'm honoring those people who stared at me with the title of the show.
That's the auditions I've been on.
And keep in mind,
without a doubt, 90% of the business is people just staring at you. So.
Yeah, that's true. But this is a man who actually had the guts to do a film on the number 2 pick in the NFL draft many, many moons ago. And it was a film that I thought for sure that was going to be coming out. And I know there was a lot of things because I remember, Tim, there was talking to the NFL Network or ESPN releasing the film Leaf. He did a film based on the...
Oh, my God.
And the irony of it is he did this way before all the stuff that came out on Ryan, you know, with him going to jail and all the things. And now that he's on ESPN, it's sort of that Tim was about 10 years too early.
Wow.
Simply put.
So instead of being 30 for 30, you were more like 5 to 10?
Yeah, exactly. The funny thing is when you're doing a story like that, you feel like, okay, it's safe. It's been 10 years after the story. 10 years is normally that window. It was like year 12 where it all fell apart for that poor man. So I was like, oh my goodness. I was like, he was quiet for 10 years. I thought it was safe. I thought it was a safe movie to do. And then we went back, we started putting new endings in, but then it got to the point where there's all these new endings. Everyone's like, what version of the movie is this? I'm like, I don't know right now.
I don't know the ending to the very movie I made.
I was like, I don't even know what the most recent ending is. So it felt like Star Wars. You just go back and you just kept tinkering with it. And then at one point, the NFL channel is like, dude, what do we do? And I was like, I don't know. What are we doing? So we played a lot of cities. We had a great limited run, but now we live on the shelf.
Yeah.
Which unfortunately does happen in this business.
With a lot of great films, too,
No doubt about it. I mean, you know a little bit about that. A little bit.
Yeah, just a little.
Exactly. But it seems like the cartoon world has kind of embraced you. I mean,
a little bit.
Yeah. I mean, what was it like getting, knowing that you were going to be a character on Pokemon?
Oh my God. The reaction I get from some people when I tell them I'm on Pokemon is it's either what's that or oh my god, and they go fanboy on you.
I did when I met Bob.
It's a funky little world. Because, for people who do voiceovers, when you do cartoons, it's you show up one day, you do it for an hour, a couple hours, however long the character's in there, and you forget about it, and it's over, it's done with. Now you remember it, and then eventually it shows up. Yeah. So to me, it was more along the lines of, okay, I got a great gig, and it's going to live somewhere. Right. But it's not like you're invested entirely into like you do when you're doing a live action part. Yeah, I get what you mean. It's rehearsed and it's shot and you take all this time. The cartoon stuff, you find that moment and you come into the studio and you kind of you find what you want for that character and you give it everything you have for those few hours, and then you kind of have to forget it because in the cartoon world, the next time you walk in the studio, you're doing 14 other characters. Right. So, but when I found out I was thrilled to the moon because I was like, oh my God, this is put you on the voiceover map. Exactly. But I really loved it. I just want to put it that way. And it has segued me into a bunch of other cartoons as well, which is a nice thing. Yeah. Before we even get to the one I know that's on Amazon, Ming, I want to scroll down a little bit because I know the photo is there somewhere. See, now I'm like looking for it, or did I even put it up there? I thought I had the character up there. There it is. Number 6. Number 6. Yeah. That's Ravine. Yeah. And that was one of the main characters you did in both Pokemon Black and White. Mm-hmm. That's where that one, and it's actually in both movies. It was ironic when they cut it. They recorded them both at the same time because they were essentially the same story told with a little different twist. Right. So the character, we recorded all of the dialogue for that character in like 2 sessions, and I wasn't sure which was going to be in which movie. But they're like, well, in the black you're going to be in it more, but in the white you're not going to be in as. I'm like, so which lines are where? They go, well, we're working on that. I was like, okay, fine. That's fine. The cartoon that's on Netflix right now is? Netflix has a children's cartoon called Robot Trains, and Amazon Prime has a cartoon called Naughty Nuts. And I know the Naughty Nuts one. That's a wild ride. That one is a wild. And I'm waiting for the second season of that to come out. And there's another one I have that I'm trying to find out what streaming service it's on called Running Man. And I'm supposed to be recording again sometime this week or next week for something else. So that's where I'm at right now. And now you realize this appeals to Christian, who has been a part of Tommy the Train, that animated series from overseas. So he's had music on there. You have a passion for the animation world. As a matter of fact, when we did our podcast together, we got to play the video that was actually done by one of the fans of Tommy the Train, which I thought was a cool moment. It was really cool because I mean, I'll downplay my impact in that a little bit. I got to work for Thomas and Friends, but I did songs for the YouTube channel. Right. But I loved it, and fans loved the songs that I was able to put out. And then when I got to remake the show's theme song for some new characters, fans made their own versions of the song in their own videos. One of them, I think, just surpassed like 2 million views, and I was just like, wow. That's amazing. I was just like, what's happening? I mean, just to get to, getting like 10,000 is a big deal, and then suddenly you're looking at, but to what? 2 million? What? Excuse me? What now? Yeah, exactly. I love it. It's so cool to leave that little fingerprint because the show is about to undergo a huge reboot. Right. So even though
even though it's a silly kid show for a lot of people, it was something I loved as a kid that I got to leave my fingerprint on, that I'll be able to tell my kids about.
Yeah,
like, hey, look what I did.
That's an amazing thing. Absolutely. And of course, obviously, Christian's background, Prince B, his dad from PM Dawn. It's been a wild couple of years because his father's music wound up in one of Kevin Smith's movies within the last year, which I know you were excited about.
Oh, you have no idea. I cried like a baby. I was like, oh, and I was with my friend Emily. Shout out to you, Emily. And we were sitting there, and I knew it was in the movie, but I didn't know where. And then the minute I heard it, I was just like, no!
And the apple doesn't fall far from the tree. Christian is doing some music. As a matter of fact, you've got a song that's going to be debuting on Christmas Day.
Yes.
But you're nice enough to give us this clip. This is a little bit of a teaser clip of what to expect from his new song. If we can fire that up, this is about 40 seconds. You're going to be definitely entertained when you watch this. Take a look.
It's my favorite time of year, and no one can tell me otherwise. Bring on the decorations, merry greetings and salutations, and those wonderful sparkling lights. It's just a vibe that can't be matched, so don't just give those carolers a passing glance. And as the old saying goes, be kind to your fellow man. Don't let your holiday spirit be confined. 'Tis the season to shine.
I can't watch my stuff in public anymore, man, because I'm sitting here like squirming. I was like, oh no, that edit sucks. No, this is great. But yeah, that's the song we're doing. I'm actually really proud of this tune because it came together so quickly.
Yeah.
Because it really wasn't supposed to happen. So I was going to release a Christmas album this year. And unfortunately, something happened with the laptop, and I lost the master project files. I still have the MP3s, but they're like unmixed. Couldn't release them. Oh. So one of them that survived was a track that I just put out called I Saw Santa Claus and He Saw Me. And this one was for a corporate event that they needed a song in 2 days. And then I was like, okay, sure. So I made this song in 2 days, but I loved it, and I wanted to do more with it. And they were like, it's yours. Do what you wish. Wow. So I was like, okay. We'll put out a video, and we'll have some fun with it. And then I was like, okay, it's the holiday season, so I'm doing something I've never done before, and it's going to be a charity single. 75% of the proceeds will go towards a place called the International Child Art Foundation, based out of Washington, D.C., and they cultivate children's creativity and help develop empathy, which I feel like will lead towards a better tomorrow. That's my personal opinion. But they're a really cool program. The guy who runs it is a really great guy, and it's just an awesome foundation that I was happy to at least help out with a little bit. So when the song comes out, because the song actually releases on Wednesday, this upcoming Wednesday. So any stream or download or purchase, 75% of that goes towards them.
Good reason to get it.
So what you're saying is you lied in your video. It said 12:25. You lied.
Well, the video drops on Christmas, but the song, I was like, all right, let's drop that a little bit early.
Okay.
But the video, because I'm still waiting on some clips. So, but yeah, 'tis the season to shine.
Very cool. Before we wrap up, we'll have you.
Great, man. That's amazing. It sounded fantastic.
Thank you. Much appreciated.
Before we're done, I want to mention the charity again. Hopefully, we'll have the website up. If we can get Mink to put that up there for us, that would be wonderful. Okay, we're done with halftime. Let's get to the third quarter of this damn around the horn, so to speak. And I apologize as I'm about to say, it's the most wonderful time. Yeah, I know. All right. I'll stop.
Yeah, don't sing.
Yeah, well, we know
Keep
better.
it going.
Yeah.
Keep it going. Tim Carr, the instigator.
Tim really does want to lose watchers.
Thanks. Man. I will be your Flavor Flav anytime and hype you guys up.
Okay.
But let's face it, tis the season to be Andy Williams right about now.
Good point.
Yeah, exactly. Because everywhere you go, that song is just popping up, no matter where you're at. As a matter of fact, you can turn on the TV. There's at least 5 commercials. It's probably running Andy Williams somewhere around the world. And by the way, since we're in the Christmas spirit, Ming, if I can pull number 14 up, a real quick plug to my friends the Smithereens, who have a new holiday song this season called Christmas Morning. Obviously, the late, great Pat Denizio in there. Jim Babjack has just released that. Jimmy, great job on this. I hope this does really well for you. But it also got me thinking as far as trying to pick one Christmas song, that's hard enough. You know, when we're constructing our own soundtrack, let's say, picking 3 songs, at least it gives you a little more leeway. Bob, if you can pick 3, what's in your soundtrack?
All right, when you threw this at us and you said, you know, what's your playlist for Christmas?
Mm-hmm.
You know, give me 3.
I should say, full disclosure, I gave everybody the questions ahead of time, you know, but nobody knows the answers until now.
So
why do I sound like I just did the Hollywood Squares there?
Actually, I think that was the disclaimer, but besides,
Thank you.
I'm going to give you 3 songs that I say these are the ones when I hear them, I know it's Christmas.
Okay.
All right. The first one, and I'm not a big Bruce Springsteen fan, but the Bruce Springsteen version of Santa Claus is coming to town. That's number 1. Because that one usually starts playing about a week or 2 before Thanksgiving, and it starts to get me in the mood.
Yeah, you better watch out.
Like I say, he's not saying he's kind of moaning at it, but it's okay. It's that whole feeling. That
You realize us saying that Bruce will never come on this show now.
Well, no, he'll come on your show now. I'm the one who just said he's kind of groaning it. But again, I love the song. The next one is it's the Big Bad Voodoo Daddy version of Heat Miser, Cold Miser.
Oh, Bob, that's one of my favorite songs. Oh,
that's Christmas. That is Christmas to me. All right, that gets me really moving. And then I'm going to go absolutely old school, cool. This is, you know, as you get closer and closer to Christmas, this is the one. It's Nat King Cole's The Christmas Song.
Chestnuts roasting on an open fire. Jack Frost
nipping somewhere we can't talk about.
Yeah, right. It doesn't really.
But that's Christmas. There you go. It's a wide variety, but it defines the holiday, and every one of those brings builds on the feeling, builds on the emotion. And when you get to Nat King Cole and you're hearing the Christmas song, it's like, who can't just get a warm and fuzzy feeling on Christmas Day? There you go.
I can't argue.
There's my 3.
All right, Tim Carr, what do you got?
First off, you blew my mind when you told me that you're friends with the Smithereens. I grew up worshiping those guys. So if there's ever a Smithereens episode,
I was about to say, Tim, you may have missed that. Jim Babjack actually came on the podcast a couple of months ago, and I was really happy that Jimmy agreed to do that. It was a blast. I know. I should have told you.
So much. When I was in high school, I used to make like compilation tapes of the Smithereens and like design my own covers, which were terrible. And I would be like, look at this. I got a bootleg. I didn't have a bootleg. Those were songs that were already out. But I love the Smithereens that much.
That's cool. But your list, sir. You're looking. I know.
At the risk of me sounding like a Grinch, I don't necessarily love Christmas music. I don't. Or holiday music.
All right.
So what I wanted to do is pick ones that I felt that were original and fun. So the first one I went with was Mariah, because Mariah did something next level. You know, for all Christmas music, we always hear like some good singer that's phoning it in with like Silent Night. Looking at you, Josh Groban. Like, of course, great voice. We hear Silent Night, sure, but I've also heard Silent Night 1,000,000 times before Josh Groban got involved. So I'm skipping him. He's not on this list. Mariah comes out with something brand new. Like, she does an original Christmas song, and it's become upper echelon Christmas music. Like, that's the song we hear. All I Want for Christmas Is You.
Yeah.
And it's new. And it now holds the same weight as like a Jingle Bells, or that's very rare where a new song comes out and does that. Prior to Mariah, what was an original song that went next level? It was Grandma Got Run Over by a Reindeer. I looked it up.
Oh my God.
So that was 1970. That was 1978, okay? Mariah comes in 1994 with that. So this is something that only happens every 20, 25 years, where we get a truly original Christmas song that joins the head of the class. And so I got to give Mariah her props on that, because that's big, and that's what she did. And we need to respect Mariah anyway, but now we really need to, because this is her time. So,
Tim, you're basking in the tears of retail workers everywhere that hate you right now.
Retail workers hate Christmas music anyway, because they're hearing it 24/7 for a month straight.
Right.
That's fair.
So,
yeah, it's sort of like at the end of the holiday season.
Right.
But at the end of the holiday season, they're sitting there going, that's the 274th time I've heard Mariah Carey.
Are you ready for it? My wife used to work at Great Adventure.
Right.
And at this time of year, they do their holiday in the park.
That's true.
And they had their soundtrack that would run. And she said it was on about a 22-minute loop. And if she heard Feliz Navidad one more time, she was going to kill somebody.
don't be dissing Jose Feliciano.
No, it's not dissing him. It was the fact that it was every 22 minutes you heard that song. And it just kind of cut through all of the other sound that was going on in the park.
You realize there's a joke in here that I could resemble and actually say something about radio, but considering I need to get back in the damn business, I'm shutting my mouth.
Okie dokie.
Thank you very much.
I'm sorry, Tim. I had to throw that out there.
No, we need to. This is where the healing begins, guys. We got to talk about Halloween. My next pick.
What are your others?
My next pick is it's a perfect song by a perfect group, Run DMC, Christmas in Hollis. That song came out.
Christian Cordes is doing
it on a benefit record. It came out on a benefit record. We had Madonna doing Santa Baby. Like, everybody was phoning that in. Yeah. Run DMC did not need to go that hard, and they did. And they did it for you, and they did it for me, and they did it for all of us. And if you listen to that song right now, the production's still great. The song is still great. The video is still great. And it really holds up. Run DMC did not need to go that hard, and they did. And they did that for us.
I got to tell you how much I love that song. Because I've heard that every year since I was a kid, to the point that recently I came up with the idea of pitching this to Run DMC and turning it into a children's book. Because I think, I think that would be such a cool thing to do for that song in particular. Because there's 3 dope stories in one cool song, and it's not like horror, and it's not inappropriate. Like there's like little things here and there that could be changed, but like. It's such a doable thing. So that's like my current goal for 2021 to see if I can get that off the ground.
Very nice.
And can we talk about how Christian just has Run DMC's number? He's like, yeah, I'm just going to call him and let him know. Like,
no. It's not like that.
Well, that's a very good point. and again, let's get
it must be nice to be a legend, Christian.
It's not even like that. Like I've always kind of been happy that I've been able to kind of do most of the stuff that I do on my own. So even then, like even if I could reach out through some connection, I'd prefer to go the hi, I'm unsolicited artist. I just happen to be who my father is. I don't really care.
Timmy, I want more.
Well, clearly I'm your cousin, so yeah.
Yeah.
By the way, this is going to be the meme for all of us at the end of this.
I do that, but our hair is already gone.
Right,
so.
it's true. Tim does it the best. He got exaggerated a little bit. So, I'm not an actor. What do you want from me? You know, Tim, what's your third song?
Christian's best friend with Run DMC. Yet my third pick is
like
a little off
over at that point. I know what you're saying.
At this point, mine's a little off the cuff, but I wanted to give a shout out to all my Hanukkah celebrating brothers and sisters, and I went with Matis Yahu. Happy Hanukkah, because it's hip hop, it's dance hall, it's reggae. It's the only song that exists on my holiday playlist as well as my summer playlist.
Wow.
So when anybody is listening to Happy Hanukkah by Madiahu, please know that when it's 100 degrees in July, I'm dancing on the beach to it too. So it never gets old. I play it all year round, and I love it all year round. Shout out to Matis Yahu, and shout out to all my brothers and sisters celebrating Hanukkah.
Good stuff. All right, Christian, you got these are 2 good lists. I'm expecting greatness from you here as the musician in the group.
You know, so he's fine.
So, I'm gonna cheat because one is an instrumental.
That's fair.
And it's the skating instrumental from a Charlie Brown Christmas. Anytime I hear that, I'm like, I know what time it is. I know it's the holidays.
Good choice.
Yes.
Thank you. And then the second one is actually a tie because it's the same song by two different people.
Ooh.
It's "Wonderful Christmas Time" by Paul McCartney.
Paul McCartney, right?
But I also love the versions that the Shins did.
Ooh. Oh, I have heard that. That's actually a decent cover.
It's a great cover of that song. That's one of my favorites. And then the last one is because I'm a Muppet guy, but it feels like Christmas from "It's a Muppet Christmas Carol." It's like my one of my all time favorite Christmas songs. And then there are also like follow-ups because I've thought about this for a minute. I literally
music guy. He's got 32 songs on his list.
Well, of course he does.
I'm sitting here like because this is like This is like the third draft of this list that's in my head at the very moment.
Wait, you already hit us with 4 songs because you did one that had a cover of a song too. So yeah, you're already at 4.
But
I'm sorry.
But you got to realize something. The pressure on this category is more on Christian and myself. The musician and the radio guy have more pressure in this category than you two actors. That's all I'm going to say.
Well, we get the next one.
Well, yeah, the next one. By the way, fourth quarter's clearly the pressure will be on Bob and you, Tim. But no pressure.
No pressure.
No pressure. That's all I'm going to say. None. Okay, my 3. Yeah, okay. Ming, I do want to pull up a photo. I think it's down. Where is that thing? Up at the top, number 1, because I want to give props to this band. The Whirling Dervishes did this in 1993, this EP, Wish It Would Snow. They did a rockin' version of Your Mean One, Mr. Grinch. And part of the reason they did this was because the radio station I was working at the time, FM 106.3 WHTG in Jersey Shore, there wasn't a lot of alternative Christmas songs going on. The band took it upon themselves to get the licensing and do a recording of it. And now here it is 27 years later. That song has been the defining thing for the Dervishes, where across the country, that song pops back up. Dervishes are in the conversation. Yes. And if the pandemic wasn't going on, the Dervishes would probably be doing some shows right about now because of that cover. It is a brilliant cover. So I give props to them.
Do you know how difficult it is to do a good cover of You're a Mean One, Mr. Grinch? Like, I love that song so much. Like, even the version that Jim Carrey did in the Grinch remake, I'm like, it's good, but it's not my favorite. Like, it for me, it's very once in a blue moon thing where, like, a new great version will come out. I'm very excited to hear this one, though.
Yeah, you got to definitely check it out. The Grinch. And Don Dazzlo's got that voice that can get down low. And the spoken parts in the middle, you can tell they're having so much fun doing it.
Yes.
Okay, man, you can take the photo off the screen now. Thank you very much. Okay, my second one is kind of an obvious one, but it was always a favorite, I think, because it just reminds me of my father, which is Please Come Home for Christmas by the Eagles.
There you go.
I give Bon Jovi credit for covering it, but sorry, you're never going to do what Don Henley does in that song. You just can't.
No, Mr. Golden Throat. Come on.
Yeah. And
I feel really bad that I didn't put that on my list now.
What? Please Come Home for Christmas?
Because that's one of those songs that, like, I try not to listen to it all the time because it's that good, but then it's also just like, it's one of those that oddly hits me in a place where I'm like, oh, I find myself getting emotional when I listen to it. So it's one of those things, I don't actively avoid it, but when it does come on, I love it, but I know the waterworks might come. So, yeah.
Third one. Now, since the part of the reason I propped the Smithereens, because I was going to say the Smithereens version of Rudolph the Red-Nosed Reindeer, but I figured just to be a little more balanced and fair, the third one, I admit, this is pure cheese. This is beyond cheese. This Christmas, Christina Aguilera. You may now shoot me. Notice I have floored the panel completely with the silence.
I'm trying to think.
I don't know what ammunition I would want.
Exactly.
I mean, I've got a brick outside. I could lend you. Bob.
There you go. Well, I mean, I would like to say, in the words of both Tim and Bob, which has been said before, I invite abuse here. I'm inviting it. There we go. Thank you. Boom.
How many times have you watched Burlesque? I guess is the question I have. She's married. So
let's put it this way. I wasn't watching the movie for Cher, although Cher wasn't, any. Am I just digging myself? Can I leave now?
You were watching for Stanley Tucci.
Oh, yeah, exactly. Tim, I know you're about to say
Christina
something.
Christina Aguilera is great in everything.
Thank you.
Christina Aguilera is so underrated as like a diva. Where people are mentioning like your Mariahs, your Chers. Christina has done the work. She's got a great voice. She's an icon. Yep. She should be on your list, and I'm glad she is.
Thank you.
There you go.
I feel better now.
That just means
I'm such an enabler. I can enable any opinion at all.
This is why I love this panel. This is a beautiful thing.
Apparently, we're now on Who Wants to Be a Millionaire, and you just dialed your lifeline.
Yeah, I just killed my phone. But I've got $64,000 now.
Yes, you do.
That's
yes,
what
you
I got. Or like 125, whatever the case may be. Gentlemen, we're at the fourth quarter. And to do this properly, I need Ming to give me photo number 7 because we're going here.
There you go.
We are absolutely going to go here because this is still the greatest debate in the world of Christmas. I will be said that Bruce Willis did say in 2018 about Die Hard, he admits it's not a Christmas film. But yet, recently, director John McTiernan, doing an interview with AFI, was defending that it's actually a Christmas film. So now you got the lead actor and the director disagreeing on this situation. It's a simple question. If you want to defend your argument, go right ahead. Tim, I'm going to start with you. Die Hard, Christmas film, yes or no?
Absolutely it is. Without a doubt, it's a Christmas movie. You know, when the great Walter Bruce Willis from New Jersey goes out to the Nakatomi Plaza, why is he there? He's there for a holiday party. When he goes out there with Argyle, the teddy bear that hangs out with the great Argyle the whole time,
yes,
is a Christmas teddy bear. Like everything that puts Bruce Willis as John McClane in the situation is holiday flavored. He's also an NYPD cop. So how is a guy like that going to get time off to go to the West Coast? He needs to be on holiday break for that because the NYPD is clearly trying to police New York City at this time. None of this happens without it being Christmas Eve. When he and Snape get into the fight because they try to take over Nakatomi Plaza on Christmas Eve. All of this happens. Remember when they were doing the commercial? When they were doing the commercial, they were doing that. I don't know what it's called, but it's like that's the song that goes.
Christmas bells.
It's Christmas. Yeah, whatever that is. It's Christmas.
That's what it was. Thank you. I knew it.
Just remember when I'm going to back your argument up here. I'm going to back your argument up here.
Okay, so you go second. Go ahead.
No. I'm just going to add on. He brought up Argyle. What did Argyle say at the end of the movie? If they do this for Christmas, I got to be here for New Year's.
Well, continue. Argyle, as always, Argyle brings the entire story together, Christmas-wise, as well as brings that limo out when they really needed it at the end. I think basically Argyle, not only is it a Christmas movie, Argyle is the real star of that show. And he also shows up a couple years later in Trespass as Ice-T's brother. So Argyle makes the whole thing happen. And the reason why the sequels don't hold up as well, no Argyle, man. It's very, very easy. But yes, Die Hard is without a doubt a Christmas movie.
You want to continue to elaborate, Bob, while you're at it?
I have multiple reasons why it is.
Okay.
I'm going to start with the simple one.
All right.
If It's a Wonderful Life is a Christmas movie, which is not about Christmas.
Going back to what you were saying at the beginning of this thing.
So is Die Hard for the same reason. Christmas isn't the reason of the story, but it's around Christmas and it tells a story of what happens at Christmas.
Right.
That's the nice one. And I'll go another way. In the movie itself, James Shigeta, the guy who plays Takagi, when he first meets Bruce Willis, when he first meets McClane, and McClane asks him, he says, I didn't think you guys did Christmas. And what does he say? Hey, we steal everything that's good. And then Bonnie Bedelia in the second movie, when she's on the plane, after she gets off the plane, when they finally landed at the airport in Washington, what does she say to him? John, why does all this happen to us every Christmas? It's a Christmas movie. There's no two ways about it.
I would say both Die Hard 1 and 2 are Christmas movies.
To get together for Christmas. Come on.
Christian, go for it. What were you about to say?
No, man. I guess, for the sake of democracy, Die Hard is not a Christmas movie. But no. Die Hard is absolutely a Christmas movie. I will also argue that Die Hard 2 is indeed a Christmas movie.
Yes!
Because you both covered it. Everything about that movie not only takes place during Christmas, it is surrounded by Christmas. Yes. Also, once I hear Christmas in Hollis, it's a Christmas movie. Okay.
Well, and even in the second movie, at the end, when Dennis Franz looks at me and he says to him, he says, "Well, did I get a ticket?" And you're like, "Hey, it's Christmas!" And he rips it up. Come on, he even gave him a present.
Now, Die Hard 3, that's the actual Christmas movie.
Oh, really? Nothing says Christmas like Bruce Willis riding a garbage truck in front of a flood.
Yo, for sure.
Well, the only two things I can add at this point is literally just looking and going, it's Christmas. Be of good cheer.
Yes.
It's
Christmas, Theo.
Yeah, it's Christmas, Theo, as Hans Gruber said. And then, of course, the classic, what really makes it Christmas is seeing the dead guy in the elevator with the Christmas hat on and the shirt going, now I have a machine gun.
Ho, ho, ho.
I actually debated bringing that one up, and I said, no, I'm going to leave that one.
Oh man, when I first started working at a shared universe, they had a Christmas party the first year. I think it was my first year that I was there, and when I opened the elevator, sitting in there was one of the dummies that we had for like a shirt, and Ming wrote on it, "I have a machine gun." Ho 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 ho! And he peppered throughout the whole fucking building. Welcome to Nakatomi Plaza.
Oh my god!
Nice touch, mate. Nice touch.
Oh man!
As we get to wrap it up, then here's the tangent, because I think people who say, well, if that's a Christmas movie, then Lethal Weapon is a Christmas movie.
100%.
Wow. You know, I never even thought about that one.
Well, think about it. We'll think of Gary Busey breaking in, and all of a sudden,
Yep.
It's Christmas Eve, damn it!
Yep.
Plus, the stats don't lie. Like, Die Hard is most watched during Christmas time.
Yes.
Like, it's like not summer when the action movies are big. Not like any other season. It's mostly Christmas. So, I mean, the numbers don't lie. So.
All right, I guess here's my question for you. You brought up Lethal Weapon. Was Mel Gibson trying to make up for not being recognized as a Christmas story, so he made, you know, the Passion of the Christ?
I knew the minute you said Mel Gibson.
Was that his way of saying, hey, you know, you're not giving me cred for being a Christmas movie?
Tim, you're an actor. Shed some light on that.
It's funny. Well, I did a film one time where I had my stunt guy was Mel Gibson's prior to me, and he's like, here are the knee pads that Mel Gibson wore. He's like, so if you go crazy after this is why. I'm like, okay, his own stunt guy's calling him out. So no, I guess it's a Christmas movie, but I guess it doesn't feel like it as much as Die Hard, because Die Hard, it happens on Christmas Eve, right? When did Lethal Weapon happen?
Lethal Weapon happens at Christmas. Pardon me. The whole movie
It's
through
building,
the hood,
right?
it builds through it, and
yeah.
it gets to when it's at Christmas time.
Right.
Yes.
Yeah.
Then
Where
I would
Die
say
Hard
that-
happened in one night on Christmas Eve with
That's true.
Argyle and the teddy bear, which is
Yeah,
the main stars of the show.
And for that argument, so does It's a Wonderful Life happen on Christmas Eve.
Right.
Even though the whole story
Yeah.
spans everything that's going on, that happens, you know, in George Bailey's life.
Right.
The actual event itself is Christmas Eve.
I think we have finally discovered that the debate of Die Hard is now dead. We have solved the issue. And at least the only issue that's left to solve, we can do another time, Van Halen versus Van Hagar. But that's another issue altogether. Christian, you're giving me a look of like,
90% of the arguments I've had in my life have been about that. 90%.
really, the Van Halen argument, of course.
All right, hang on a second. You ready for it? I saw Van Halen a few years back. They were playing at the BB&T Center down in Camden.
Right.
And they were so bad. Now, musically, they were brilliant.
Right.
Absolutely brilliant.
Who's singing?
But the singer.
There you go.
And he couldn't remember any of the song lyrics. All right. So while we're sitting there watching this concert, there's a helicopter flying around over above. We were making the joke, said Sammy Hagar was in the helicopter, was going to rappel down once they gave him the heads up.
As the radio guy, I'm going to make it simple. David in his prime was the entertainer.
Yes.
Sammy in his prime was the better singer.
Yeah.
And I will definitely say, and I had this debate with a buddy of mine, Steve Persimonos, who's been my personal trainer. We were debating, and I basically said, look, 5150 is still the album. And I know I'll get blasted by Van Halen fans, but that's still sonically, musically, and everything top to bottom. It's an amazing album. And again, nothing against David, and I love David's work, and I love what they did early on, but that was the pinnacle. They're not going to get better than 5150.
Here is the only argument you need. At the end of the David Lee Roth era of Van Halen, they were doing stuff like they were doing covers of Martha and the Vandellas Dancing in the Street and things like that. They were starting to become a very entertaining, like, here's a rock cover. You know, I don't know if Van Halen gets out of the 80s without Sammy Hagar. I think they were a perfect 80s moment with Van Halen, with David Lee Roth, who was an entertainer. He'd fly around, he'd do California Girls, he'd sing all those covers. But then 5150 took over, and that was the next logical step of the band. I think the reason why they had the longevity was because of Sammy. I also get yelled at all the time for that. So, Rob, if you get yelled at, I'm right there with you. Bring it on.
I appreciate that. Thank you very much. Weird way to go out, but I think it's a very appropriate way to go out. My thanks to the entire panel here. Bob Senkewicz, when you have whatever projects coming up, you'll let me know so we can plug them.
Absolutely.
Absolutely. And once again, on Netflix and on...
Robot Trains on Netflix, Naughty Nuts on Prime, and hopefully there'll be a couple more coming soon.
Very cool. Tim Carr, it's parkinglotfilms.com. They can find out more about the projects that are coming up with you. And once we get out of this pandemic, I definitely we got to sit down and talk about that upcoming project in a little more detail. But I'm excited for you. Congratulations on that.
While you're Tim, I'm available. You can reach me through.
Oh, please, no. I want to hear all your stories. Yeah, it'll
Tim,
be great.
if you need a theme song, I might have you. So let me know.
And speaking of which, Christian's
anyway, man.
we're family.
November 25th. The proceeds again are going to where, Christian, when they download this?
They're going to the charity, the International Child Art Foundation, based out of DC, that basically encourage children and help them develop empathy and also foster their creative abilities and communication. It's a really cool. I've explained it so many times to people. I'm just paraphrasing at this point, but it's a cool charity. Check them out. Donate if you can. But 75% of the Christmas song "'Tis the Season to Shine" will go towards them.
If by some chance this is my last podcast of the year, I've done nearly 30 of them. I've had some great guests, including these three people who have been on at times, and they will be a part of my crew in 2021 at some point. I look forward to that. And also, it's interesting that everybody here's got a weird connection to the View Askew universe in one way, shape, or form. Tim did a documentary film that involved Kevin Smith. Christian, you've been involved. Bob indirectly has had.
No, I did the film with
Ernie O'Donnell recently, a short film which Christian, by the way, was on the set for.
Yeah, that's where we
was.
And this is sort of the perfect way to go out because even though he's not with us, part of the View Askew universe, certain gentleman is celebrating a birthday today. Yeah. And to Dante, Brian O'Halloran, a very happy birthday, my friend. Happy 39th. Apparently he was 13 when he did Clerks. Who knew?
Yes. Well, it was 39th birthday or something like that.
It would be 37th birthday.
37th.
37. Come on.
I'm 37?
It's a Clerks deep cut.
Oh, man.
Gentlemen, thank you so much for doing this. For Bob Senkewicz, for Tim Carr, for Christian Cordes, I'm Rob Akampora. That's it for the A Game. Hopefully, I will see you again very soon. And if I don't, I'll see you in 2021 when we resume what we do here, which is getting people who are achieving their goals. And we'll talk about just about anything. That's what we love to do here. Take care. Happy holidays.